Alright everybody, and welcome to ThinkBox Chris's review of Kingdom Hearts 3! It's been a hot minute since I wanted to do this, but really, I didn't want to do it too early, but I didn't want to wait like an eternity, like some people do. But yeah, this is just gonna be my thoughts on the game as a whole. I'm gonna structure it a little bit differently than most people. I'm not gonna talk about it in vague terms. I actually want to go through it like bit by bit, but still kind of vaguely, if that makes sense. So like, I want to go through like the music, the worlds, the design, then the story, because everyone talks about the story first. I'll put timestamps to figure out where to go if you want to skip around, because this is probably gonna take a minute to do. But if you want to just chill and listen, stay right there. Alright, first things first. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. I clearly think this game is good. It's still a solid A. Overall, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10, which is the same rating I give Kingdom Hearts 2, because I like them both the same, but for different reasons. Kingdom Hearts 2 is that game you go to for like fast, fluid combat, and you want it to be like badass and, you know, feel like it's a really big, epic game, whereas Kingdom Hearts 3 is trying to be epic, but it kind of has a tonal problem. It has a I mean, all the games have tonal problems, but like, it has a pacing issue, and I can't deny that. It's still fun, it's still good, its big pluses come in everything but the climax, whereas Kingdom Hearts 2 had the opposite problem where everything was kind of meh until the climax. Let's be real here, like, the Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts 2 aren't masterpieces of fucking gaming. They're fun to go through, but like, they're not extremely on the level of exploration as Kingdom Hearts 3, so that's kind of where my score sits, and I'll explain why. So let's start with the beginning. I said this is my own reaction to Face My Fears, but it's a gorgeous song. The full song is great. The full video is great. It's an amazing opener. It even beats Sanctuary to me, because, I mean, I don't like Sanctuary's beginning. It's a little too, like, but the chorus of Sanctuary is very good. I have to give credit where credit's due. Sanctuary has a very good chorus. Face My Fears is just all around good. Like, there's no real middle or low point, and if I had to rank all the openings, I would put Sanctuary probably at the bottom between the main three titles. It would probably go Face My Fears, any version of Simple and Clean, and then Sanctuary, and it's last because of default. If you factor in other titles, it'd still probably be last, because I like Train Drop Distance's opening better than Sanctuary, but that's a me thing. So yeah, Face My Fears is really, really good. It's a good way to open it. I still listen to the song on its own, and I think the accompanying visuals are gorgeous. Following that, we've got what I think is the dumbest point. So the memory archive system they put in the title menu is kind of fun, kind of nice, and I'm okay with that. But the problem is that you guys really shouldn't have jumped into this on your own without any context. And like, if you jumped in with a life raft, I feel bad for you, because you will know nothing of what happened. I actually have a script in the work of what I'm calling a blunt summary of Kingdom Hearts before you jump into Kingdom Hearts 3, because it only covers like the bare basics you need to know to understand the plot of Kingdom Hearts 3. So it's gonna be a lot shorter than most people's retellings of the series, but yeah, so look forward to that. But yeah, you jumped in without a fucking life raft. I feel so bad for you, but you did it to yourself. The opening of the game is extremely good. I love when we just jump into 0.2's ending and we just go on from there. It's not like it's extremely hard to fucking follow. It's just, we're going off to see the Herc, and then we're gonna go back and do other stuff. And you know, the whole first level is done in your Kingdom Hearts 2 attire, and that's a lovely send off to that design. It's been there for 17 years. It was like a last hurrah for that, and I like it's technically called 2.9. That's a good thing, because it really is Kingdom Hearts 2.9. 3 hasn't started yet, because it's still just like the send-off of the past, with Hercules being that anchor to the past and now going on to newer, bigger things. So throughout the whole game, Sora is just my favorite fucking thing. He's just as good as he was in Kingdom Hearts 2. There isn't really like a highlight moment. Like, everyone memes this moment, and I've used it quite a lot to varying effects of comedy and like understanding like the emotional weight of Kingdom Hearts 2. But like, there's no like Riku crying on his knees scene. There's none of that. But it's still a good story. I like Sora's character. He's back to being like a hapless dumbass, but in the best way possible. He's kind of clueless, but that works for his character. He's just kind of silly and fun, and I love Sora because of that. It's the whole reason I like Sora. A good example of this is in one of the cutscenes that happens after a Disney World. I think it's the last Disney World, to be quite honest with you. Sora keeps begging Donald and Goofy to let them go to the Realm of Darkness, and they keep saying no. I think it's Donald. He just goes, "You don't even know how to get to the Realm of Darkness, do you?" And then Sora just,
Well, Riku and the King do.
And it's just like one of those lines that just, oh my god, it cements how cute this character is for me. I love it. It's great. Sora has, in every world, Sora is just a treat. Every minute he's on screen, I laugh at him, I giggle at him. He's just, he's so great. I love him. If you didn't know that already, Sora is just like the most precious good boy, and I love him so much. Moving on to, well, if Sora wouldn't look as good without the graphics, so let's move on to the graphics. Graphics are great. Graphics are wonderful. I love the little details. I love the little animations. I love so much of what this game does and how much it looks like eye candy. My favorite new thing they've added that was kind of missing in past games, and I get that because of the hardware limitations, I love how now you enter a room without the Keyblade, and if you don't attack for a while and you keep running, Sora will dismiss it. He will just put it away in its pocket dimension. And I'm like, yes, thank you. That's amazing. That's really cool. Because I hate how in past games, it's just there forever until you enter a room. It's a weird thing, but it's always bugged me, and now they're doing that, and I love it so much. I hope they carry that onward. But yeah, graphics are really good, and I love the little details of things like that, and I love everyone's like idle animations. I love their comment animations. I love so much of what this does. Voice acting is still great. It's really good. There are a few characters that are a little bleh, but it's not like they're completely distracting. It's very strange to me how they went about this, because there are some worlds that are like pitch perfect, there's nothing wrong with it, and there are some that are like, this is just awkward. And the weird thing is that it's not Pirates of the Caribbean like you think it would. I actually like the tone of that world a lot. It's actually like Arendelle that has the weirdest voice acting, because they feel very restricted, and that's more due to the fact that it's frozen than anything else, and I'll get to that later. But voice acting is still good. The original casts are good, the returning casts are good. I like everything about it. I don't really have a disliked portion of the voice acting. Let's move on to worlds. Worlds are massive. They're just gigundous. Like the first time you play this stuff, it's extremely like jaw-dropping, and the second time I played the game, I tried it on Proud Mode my second time, so I know how hard the game can get, and it's still not quite as difficult as I'd like it to be, but it's good. And I'm glad the critical mode is being added as free DLC, and they're tweaking more than just your health and damage. It's actually like a lot more methodical. That's really cool for me. I will try that. I will give that a go, and I'll probably make a separate video on critical mode itself. But anyway, the worlds are extremely well done, very faithful to the movie. It's Kingdom Hearts. We know this is what we're going for. They've had a standard, and they've hit the standard every single time. And I'm going to go through each world individually to just get my thoughts out on it. So with Olympus, I like Thebes. I think it's really interesting that it still looks like Thebes, but it's not quite as crowded, and they have NPCs in general, which is really good. I like the NPCs, and the thing is that it feels very spacious for a giant town. I think if they're gonna add more like stuff for DLC, I think that adding more NPCs in like the critical mode update would be really nice, because having so little right now, it just feels a little sparse. It still feels lived in, it still feels alive and real, but it's just a tad lacking in what I'd like. I like Mount Olympus, I like the realm of the gods. I wish there were more gods just there. I don't know why, but the gods are just not there. Like, there's Aphrodite, I want to say Ares, and then Hermes and Zeus. Not even Hera, who is kind of important to Hercules in the fact that she's his mother, but not even Hera's there. It's just, where the fuck are the other gods? Like, if you discount Hades, it's only 4. It's so weird. So that was a little weird. I like the Rock Titan fight a lot better here than I did in Kingdom Hearts 1. That was really fun. The Lava Titan was a little interesting because they paired it up with the Ice Titan, which I kind of would have preferred to have 4 separate boss fights rather than having it be 3 separate boss fights, because as it stands now, it's the Rock Titan, Ice and Lava, and then the Tornado Titan, and it's a little weird because if they had just separated the Lava Titan in another part of the mountain, I would have been cool, or even the Ice Titan. I get why they're there together. It's because they were making the cone that makes Zeus stuck for the fight, and that's completely fine, I get that, but I kind of wish like maybe the Cyclops was brought in for that. You know, remember that fight? That would also explain why Thebes is like being destroyed, because right now it's just the Heartless, and having the Cyclops be like the big bad of Olympus would have made more sense to me, but oh well. Music is great. I love the Thebes theme. I love the choir that happens in the climax of that theme. Thebes feels like the entirety of Olympus, basically. Its field theme feels very heroic, which is the point, and then the battle theme is really an accentuation of that. I don't think they stand out from each other enough to be really interesting. I'll get into this more later with Corona, but like their themes are solid, but they're not distinct from each other. They kind of blend together for me, if that makes sense. I gave Olympus a 10 out of 10 in my Every World Reviewed in 10 Words or Less, which if you want to look at the iCards up there, or there will be a link in the description. But yeah, I gave it 10 out of 10. I gave it Best World in the series because of how well it executes its design and how well it's supposed to work off of its own internal logic of being the tutorial level. And I might get flack for that, I don't know. But that's up to you guys. Another thing is that I really liked Hercules' AI, although all the partner AIs are really good. Although with Hercules, there's one attack he does that is very clearly not done all the way. Like there's this one rock attack he does where he picks up a rock and spins it, and for some reason it's just really choppy. It doesn't look like it's completely done at 60 frames. It feels like it's done at like 24 or 15. It's a weird one. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so yeah, Olympus, great. I love it. Let's move on to Twilight Town. Twilight Town is disappointing, but only in the sense that it's really small. Now, I get what they were trying to do. It's a big, bustling area. It's literally just one area. Like, that's it. It's just one area. It's impressive that they can do that, but it's Twilight Town. Why wasn't there, like, the mansion, or the clock tower, or the usual spot, or the sandlot? Like, had you included those 3 or 4 areas, I would have been fine. Because as it stands now, you go to the mansion to have a cutscene, and that's it. It's just a cutscene. You don't even go in the mansion. You walk to the mansion, and then you are just in there with hanger, pants, and omelet, and you're just like, why? It's weird. I would have preferred to have it be more like a fleshed out world, but I can't really bitch about that because it's still fun, and I still like going there. It still feels like home. That's the whole thing. It still feels like home. It's a good place to have it be like the center. It'd be like the center of the game, kind of like Radiant Garden and Traverse Town were in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. And I've heard people say that Twilight Town is actually the center of Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'm like, not really. You don't go there that often. Radiant Garden has more. I always consider it to be like the hub of the game, like where the Moogles have their own shop and where the Winnie the Pooh book is. That's why I've always just considered Radiant Garden and Traverse Town to be the definitive ones of their games, but I realized that I could be full of shit here. Anyway, I love the Remy cooking game. I love that. It's fun. I don't use the buffs that much, but I like making new recipes. I like finding the ingredients, and just doing things like that is just, it's always interested me in games. There is this one moment, though, when you first meet Remy in the shop, and he's just like, oh no, you're gonna cook the food. Sora is just, he has Sora grab the skillet and then the spatula, and he's like, you want me to do it? And it's just, it's so Japanesey. Like, you could hear, like, the Japanese voice line for that. Now, I'm not, like, into Japanese stuff like that really at all, but, like, I looked at that and, like, that's so Japanese. That is just Japanese out the ass, and it was cute. I loved it. It felt a little out of place. I don't know, like, it felt culturally out of place, if that makes sense. So, depending on how you play the game, I play order of recommended level. So, next for me was Toy Box, and I gave Toy Box a 9 out of 10, and I still stand by that rating. It's fun. I love it. It's really great. I think that Buzz bouncing back and forth is just a little weird. It's completely strange how he's like, oh yeah, I trust you, and then like, no, you're gonna betray us, and I'm like, what are you, Batman or Superman? Pick a lane. It's just annoying. Voice acting, of course, is brilliant and everything. They got most of the original cast for this, except for Buzz and Woody. I don't know why they got everyone else or how they got everyone else. Reportedly, the only reason they didn't get Potato Head was because his original voice actor died, so they couldn't really reprise his role, and there's not a lot of people that sound like him, so it's a little strange, which I get. Andy's room looks great. The whole level looks great. I love the street. I love Galaxy Toys. I love everything about this. It's so good. The cutscenes are really good. I like the reason that we're there. I also like the reason that it's barren is because the organization is literally just trying to learn how hearts work, and so seeing the resolve of how a toy's love for a human can be tested by separating them is extremely nice as a concept, and it works very well for that universe. Another thing is that I really like the music of this world. Now, I don't like the feel because it's just the same like minute loop of Randy Newman's You Got a Friend in Me, and it's just a little frustrating after a while. Like, you're just like, oh my god, we get it, it's Randy Newman, could you pick anything else? But the battle theme is like one of the best in the game. Like, oh my god, I think it actually is the best battle theme in the game. It's really, really good. Like, holy hell, this thing is good. It's bouncy, it's poppy, it has momentum to it, it makes you want to keep going. It's a good battle theme. It's really fun and energetic, and it's something I would listen to on its own, and I like that a lot. I will say this, the Gigas are really hard to fight as a toy, because I don't like mech combat, like I don't hate it, but I just prefer to like see what I can handle and face things head on. Toy Box is the only place I ever die because of the mechas and how hard they hit you, and I would shudder to see what critical mode would do to those things, because Oh boy. Oh boy, those are gonna be tough. But I am looking forward to that. I will actually be looking forward to that, see how that works out. So that's fun. Also, I'm gonna put this out there. For those of you who are saying that Verum Rex looks like Final Fantasy 15, you're only about 4/5 right there. Yes, the 3 sidekicks and the girl look like Gladio, Ignis, Prompto, and Luna Freya, but Rex does not look like Noctis. It looks like Riku. Just put that out there. He doesn't look like Noctis, you fucking idiots. Like, it's fucking Riku. How does anyone misconstrue this? I kind of get like the idea they were going for with that, but it's Riku. It's just fucking Riku with one green eye, one red eye. Just, it's Riku. We're moving on from that. Corona is extremely weird for me. Like, I like Corona a lot. I love Tangled a lot. It's probably my favorite. Like, I gave Corona a higher rating than I did Toy Box, and I still stand by that. I love Rapunzel. I love Eugene. I love all the hijinks. I like the story, the way it plays out. It's just fun. I love the fact that there are 4 like mini games you can do with Rapunzel that net you a really cool item that you can't get anywhere else, and it's so good. It's a fun time. The Keyblade's a little underwhelming, but I'll get into that later. Like, I'm not a big fan of Mirage Staff, but we'll get into that later, like I said. The music is really nice here because I'll cover this when I get to Arendelle in like a minute, but when it comes to the music, the field theme is very chill, if that makes sense. It's very much like beam, bim, 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 kind of thing. It's very much just like, hey, let's just hang out, let's see what goes on, and it's fun, and I don't mind that. I don't mind the fact that it's just chill. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. You're just like, hey, let's go explore, and that's kind of the point. It makes you want to go explore the world with Rapunzel because it's her first time out, and like how bubbly the music feels, like meshes with her bubbly personality. It's just fun. I like the festival minigame a lot. It's super cool. It's probably my favorite minigame in the game. It's just great. It's fucking amazing. And it's so cute. It's so fun. Like, seeing Sora run around with guys and like be a gentleman to the women and like just dance properly, and it's a fun time. It's a little, I'm glad they put it in there because it's just a good time. I can't say anything else about it. Corona is a good time. Just a really, really good time. Moving on to Monstropolis, we have a bit of a dichotomy. A lot of people don't like Monstropolis because it's just a factory, and they also don't like Sora's monster form. And I'll get to Sora's forms in just a minute. And like, what else could they have done with Monsters Inc? They couldn't go through the doors because that's too many variables to pick from, so having them be in the factory just makes the most sense. And let's not forget that Monsters Inc as a movie is very heavily based on bureaucracy. Like, that was one aspect of the movie they got pretty goddamn close, was the bureaucracy aspect of the entire thing. So I don't really hate the factory. I don't particularly love it. It's a nice environment to go through. I mean, I gave Monsters Inc an 8 out of 10, and I stand by that because I like the characters in it a lot. I like Mike and Sully, I like Boo, I like Randall, even though Randall is way off from his voice actor. Like, the cadence is spot on, but his voice actor is not Steve Buscemi, and you can just tell. It's weird. Another thing is that I like the story. It has a purpose. Like, you're basically escorting this little girl home, and that's not a bad thing. I don't hate the fact that Boo is in the game, because that was kind of the point. We need to get Boo home and then deal with the threat, and they do that extremely well. Like, Boo doesn't have a health bar, so she can't die, so it's not like you're actually escorting her anywhere. She's just running around with you, and that's it. It's cute. It's fun. 10 out of 10 would babysit again. I have no big notes for Monsters Inc. It's not like it's terrible or anything. But then we come to, most arguably, the worst world in the game. 100 Acre Woods. Now, you could make an argument that either this or Arendelle is worse, and I'll make a case for that in a minute, but the reason the 100 Acre Woods bothered me more is because it had more hype than Arendelle, but it did just as bad. The characters, they're only there for tradition's sake. There's nothing about them that is original. They're only there because they were there once and must always be. And I hate that kind of thing. It's so bothersome. There's no organic reason for us to go there. There's no organic reason for us to stay. The only reason we're even at Wonderland is because of Rabbit. He wants us to help him with his harvest. Now, yes, we go in to see why Sora's off the cover of the book for the 3rd fucking time, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just not fun. Like, it'd be like going through, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's not fun for me to sit there and say, oh, we're playing the same 3 mini games in a row, and we're seeing one of my favorite 100 Acre Wood characters lumpy for the first time in the series, and we're just like, what the hell? Like, why introduce this character for all of effectively 12 lines of dialogue, when in every other version of the 100 Acre Woods, it's at least fun to go visit. You go sit down with Pooh Bear, you get some cool items, you have an emotional story, and then you leave, and that's fun. But here it's just like you show up and then you're done, and I'm like, fuck it. Arendelle, on the other hand, is so bad. So bad. Let's start with the positives. The field theme is the best in the game. Like, utterly the best in the game. Like, I like Coronas a lot, I like Olympus a lot, I like a lot of these themes, but Arendelle has the best field theme. Like, the non-combat theme is just so good. It feels appropriately like a winter theme. It feels very grandiose, which for Frozen I assumed that's what they were going for, and it's just nice. It's really good. I'm not a big fan of Let It Go, but I like the fact that they tried something with it. There is this one camera angle change in the middle of Let It Go when she does the hair braid that is actively what I would have wanted for the rest of the fucking video. Like, just more camera changes, more animation differences, things like that. That would have been really, really nice. But alas, that is where the good ends. Oh, I mean, the Keyblade's good, but we'll get to that later. Why are we on the mountain, and just the mountain? Why are we not going to the castle? Why is Elsa not the villain? Why is Elsa not a party member? Why is Anna not a party member? Why is it that we didn't just have Mike and Sully as humans? Like, you could honestly see Anna with I've always pictured this as like Anna's idea of a party member. Like, having her, like, strum a lute and kick around some snow to attract enemies, and then have Kristoff on Sven charge into them would be a really cool idea. Or having Olaf as a snow pitching machine, or having Elsa learning to control her powers would be really cool. And a really cool manifestation of this idea would be that Elsa could start out at level 1, regardless of where you are in the game level-wise. You could honestly start her off at level 1, and then have her very quickly gain levels as she attacks, because she's a level 1, and this is like a level 35 world. You know, things like that would have made this experience a lot more fun. But nope, Disney was like, no, it has to be the movie. You can't do anything interesting with it, you just gotta have it in the game because we're promoting Frozen 2. And I'm like, why? Just make it more interesting. Like, Corona is basically the same thing as Tangled with Sora, Donald, and Goofy just sprinkled in, but they at least effectively make the movie happen by guiding Rapunzel and Flynn through the forest to stop the Heartless from killing them. That's the whole point. So, removing that need for Anna and Kristoff to need guidance with the monsters kind of negates the purpose of the fucking movie. Like, why have us there? We literally just walk up the mountain twice and then get knocked down both times and then get told to fuck off, and then we have to fight a wolf version of Hans who was never actually seen. See the back of his head and then him swing a sword, and then he's a wolf. And that's it. Like, what the fuck? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so Arendelle is probably the worst level in the game, but you could make an argument that the 100 Acre Woods is that as well. It's just, you gotta pick your battle on this one. The next world, however, is the Caribbean, and I actually like the Caribbean. I like the underwater combat, I love the ship combat, I think it's really cool. I think it's a good gimmick world. The gimmick of ship and water combat is a lot more unique than past games, because you're not bound by mermaid form, which I like mermaid form. I don't hate it. I like the freeform movement we get. I like how we're cool. I like it. I think the mermaid form is nice. Don't at me. I gave the Caribbean a 9 out of 10, and the only reason it's not a 10 is because the story is so compressed, because the first 10 minutes of cutscenes is literally just exposition about Dead Man's Chest, which I can live with. I don't mind that. And then they kind of have to backfill the plot to get to the finale of At World's End, but I still don't hate it. The crab thing made sense. I actually like collecting crabs because it's a little unique currency for this world that amounts to something interesting for your ship. You can eventually level your ship up to level 9, and then you can wield the Black Pearl. It's saying you've literally progressed this far, and you've spent so much time here getting all the chests, scouring the islands. You're a true pirate. Go sail the ship that you wanted to sail. So Sora gets his own ship, but you also get Jack's ship as well, and that's really cool. That's good game design and good fan pandering. And I think that loosely, because I was excited to play with the Black Pearl. I don't even like the Pirates movies. Like, I like 2 and 1 pretty much the same, but that's about it. So, yeah, Pirates is nice. I like Davy Jones. I love Luxord. I was just like trying to get parlay every 5 seconds, and Jack just goes, no, we're doing something. We're a little busy. fuck off. And that's great. I love that so much. The organization in general throughout these worlds are actually good additions. I would have liked boss fights for all of them. In these worlds is like setups for like the finale so that they have bigger health bars and you can fight them more than once in the game. But for what they're doing is just like cutscene antagonists, I don't mind them. They're really cool. I say cool a lot in this, but I don't know how to say this. This game is just cool. It's fun. What do you want from me? San Francisco is just... I'm of two minds of it. On the one hand, I like the fact that it has a day-night cycle that you can cycle through whenever you want. On the other hand, I don't really like the characters or the movie. Like, I like Honey Lemon and Go-Go, and that's about it. I think Fred can go die in a hole, and I think Baymax is an overrated character in this game. In the movie, he's great. He's great. He's cute and funny and chill there, that's fine. But in the game, he's overrated, and I would have liked Hero or Honey Lemon or even Go-Go to be your party member, or just anyone on the team, because Baymax is everyone's universal favorite, so why not have someone else that is not Baymax? Like, you could have had the story progress so that everyone is in your party at a different time. You could have the first part be Baymax and Hero, and then Baymax and Honey Lemon, and then Baymax and Go-Go, then Wasabi, then Fred, and you could cycle through them all pretty easily, you know, showing off their unique abilities that Sora does teach them, which I'll get to that in a second. So, having each of those be unique to that world and having, you know, more opportunities for said extra combat and the way it framed would have made more sense to me. But the way it's set up now is perfectly fine. I don't hate it. I just wish that we could have had more people in our party. The story is probably one of the stronger ones of the game, though. I gotta give it props for that. It's pretty strong. You're there for like 2 or 3 days, canonically, I guess. And it works. It's nice. It's good. It's fun. It's nice. I'm sounding like an idiot over this, but it's just, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm not a game critic, but I'm trying to do this correctly. I like that Sora actually impacts the lives of the characters he interacts with more so than anyone else, because he teaches them how to use their weapons in a new way and think around the problem. That's really cool. That's in line with the movie. It's fucking amazing. I love it. But the companion and the fact that the boss is really easy just kind of brings this world down for me. Now we move on to, I'm gonna lump these 3 together. Land of Departure, Yensid's Tower, and the Dark World. These 3 worlds are the equivalent in space to Twilight Town, and they're so underused. The Dark World was already programmed into the game. Why couldn't you just upscale the graphics on it and call it a fucking day? It would have made so much more sense. I don't get that. I like the Aqua boss fight, but it's just, it's weird. Yensid's Tower isn't even in the game. It's just exposition, which is every game he's in, but still, it's just not as fun. Another thing is that I really don't like that the Land of Departure is just the training room, like the throne room, because it could have been so much more. We could have just gone back there with Aqua and Ventus and chilled out. That would have been cool. Although that transformation cutscene is so sexy. So sexy. Like, I love transformations, and that was gorgeously animated, gorgeously done. I love the idea that it's like a Disney show where it's like a projection that comes onto the building and then the building forms to fit that. It's just, I love it. It's great. I love that scene. Anyway, the Vanitas boss fight is amazingly cathartic. I wish that you could play as Aqua more than for one boss fight, but it's still cool. And then there's the Keyblade Graveyard. Now, I'm gonna do a podcast here a little bit with one of my friends, so I'm gonna mainly focus on the Keyblade Graveyard in that podcast, so I'm not gonna on this too much here, but aside from Kairi being useless, I don't have an issue with the Keyblade Graveyard. The ending isn't bad, I don't hate it, it's just okay. Like, it's fun. I like the ending, it gave me the feels, I cared about what was going on, and I didn't have any complaints. Like, I understood everything that was going on because I played the games and I understood how to watch a cutscene. I've seen a lot of people complain about, like, nothing making sense here. I'm like, did you watch the cutscenes? Did you, like, listen? Did you use your eye holes and your ear balls? Like, did those, like, function for you when you were doing this? Because that's kind of how this is supposed to work. You watch and listen to a cutscene and it explains what's going on. Because if you didn't, you're an idiot. Anyway, so I like everything about the Keyblade Graveyard aside from Kairi being useless and Sora dying. Like, I don't like Sora dying. I kind of wish they would have let Kairi, like, I'll get to this later, but I kind of wish they would have left Kairi for dead and then gone after her for the next game. But the main problem with Kairi in this is that, like, the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 3 and the marketing towards Kingdom Hearts 3 and, like, the end of Dream Drop Distance and the end of 0.2 Birth by Sleep was setting up Kairi to be important. Now, she does, like, pull an Ex Machina and have everyone live again at the end of it because she's a Princess of Hearts and she can do magical, mystical things, and that's cool, but she's a Keyblade wielder. Have her have a fucking fight. Like, she fights with Sayax before Xemnas takes her away, but I really just would have wanted it to matter more. more. Something, anything would have helped. Like, had maybe she been one of your 2 party members for a majority of these fights, it would have been cool. But I do like how the fights were meant to be like, you're helping finish these stories that are integral to these specific characters. And that was a good decision. But I still think Kairi should have just stayed home because she did fucking nothing. Now that we're done with all that, I want to talk about some issues with cutscenes apparently. Like, there are 2 cutscenes in particular that people use when they say like the game's pacing is off. There's only 2 of them, and they keep using the same 2 cutscenes as this example, because 2 of them have weird pauses. One of them is Entangled when Flynn meets Rapunzel, and it's mimicking the pacing of the movie. There's no music, and there's no Pascal. So there's nothing to bounce off of, and that kind of makes sense, but you know, you also want to match the pacing of the movie. I always just thought she was looking at Pascal off screen. That was just my thought. So that scene doesn't bother me. It's a little bare. I kind of wish they would have had like ambient music, but that's about it. But every other cutscene is just like talk, react, talk, react, and I like that. There's one other cutscene when they're talking to Ienzo, and I forget where exactly it is in the game, but there's pauses in that one too, and someone did this as like part of their review. They actually edited down the clip, and it cut like 10 seconds of dead air, and I'm like, yeah, because it's called thinking. They're pondering what they're trying to say because it's a contemplative scene, or maybe, God, maybe, the Japanese line was a bit longer, and they just kind of added the pauses to not do a lot of cutting so they could fucking meet the deadline, because that just happens a lot. It's not a bad thing, just business. You know, business. It happens. So the cutscene pauses are dumb and stupid and aren't really a problem, so shut the fuck up about it. Moving on to more tangible things and more personal opinions, I enjoy Sora's forms. I like all of them. I like my favorite out of all of them is the first one we get, which is the toy box form. I love Toy Sora. Toy Sora is so great. I love the unique designs for Sora, Donald, and Goofy in this world. I wish that they had kept more similar designs for Donald and Goofy throughout the rest of the game, because Mickey gets a new outfit, Riku gets a new outfit, Sora gets a new outfit, Kairi gets a new outfit, Lee gets a new fucking outfit, but Donald and Goofy have had the same exact outfit for pretty much 20 years, and they need to change. And I think having them change costumes with Sora going forward would be very, very interesting to see and to work with. That would be kind of fun. But Toy Box is probably my favorite, like, cosmetic design for Sora that is purely, like, a new outfit for the world. So, Sora only changes, like, his physical appearance 3 times, and I just mentioned Toy Box, so then my next favorite one is probably Monsters Inc. form, because I like how, I like the design. I don't hate it. It's a little awkward, but it's not like the worst thing. And then I like the Pirate one the least, because I don't know how to describe this. It just doesn't look... Like, it's, like, the outfit doesn't change enough when you get new Keyblade forms, and it just kind of annoys me that it's just super weird. With the toy form and the monster form especially, you can see instantly how it looks, and Toy Sora in second form looks badass. Like, it's so cool, and I love that the individual like, I love how your outfits change in general in this game, because I'm a sucker for that kind of thing, but Toy Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2 color scheme is just 10 out of 10, love it. I also, like, this is such a stupid thing to bring up, but I love how Sora's teeth are just plastic lines. I just love it. Because he's a toy. Like, why would you make individual teeth for a toy? I love it so much. It's, like, whenever I take selfies in that form, it's just like, he goes cheese, and it's great. I love it. Pirates form, I like Pirates in general, like, aesthetic, but I feel like if they had made the outfit a lot more susceptible to the color change, I would have liked it better, but I don't know. Speaking of changing forms, let's talk about combat. Combat is really fun. Like, holy shit, combat is fun in this game. Like, you cannot, like, yeah, it's floaty. Yeah, it's a little busted, but it's still fun to swing your Keyblade. It's still fun to change into other Keyblade forms. It's so fun. Like, a lot of people will sit there and go, like, I just hit the X button and, you know, spam magic. I'm like, I changed forms every chance I got. I loved changing forms. I still love changing forms. They're so fun. They're just good to play with. They're just interesting to get certain kind of combos going. I don't know how to describe this, but it's just pure joy. The game is a bit floaty, but that's not really bad. That's just kind of how it is, and that's, you just gotta live with that. At least to me, you gotta live with that. I don't mind it. Keyblades. To save you guys some time, because there's like 15 Keyblades, I'm not gonna list all of them. My favorite 5 Keyblades would be, in no particular order, Favorite Deputy, the Ultimate Weapon, the Frozen Keyblade, Ever After, and Starlight / Kingdom Key. And those are, and mainly because of their form changes, but I also just like how those look aesthetically. My favorite form change in the entire game is Hyper Hammer, because I have a very, very big fetish for mallets or hammers. Oh my god, I love them. Like, oh my god, I love them. They're so fun to play with. They're so fun to use. Just smacking someone on the face is just so satisfying to me. And I know that's basically what a sword is, but like with a hammer, It's just like you're like with a sword you can just cut through a bitch, but with a hammer you're like beating their face in. I don't know, like it's like one of my few distorted joys in life. Attractions. So attractions are really divisive. I like them as an implementation. I think if they were a little less frequent, then they would be okay. I think if only like 1 or 2 per fight happened, I could live with that. But as it stands, I think in one fight I had like 4 or 5 stacked up on just one encounter. It wasn't even like a horde fight, it was just like a normal encounter. I don't know how that happened, but it did. My favorite attraction would be the carousel, because it's high risk, high reward, and there's actually skeleton based in when you use it. Because you have to time the button presses to the rings so that it makes the excellent and you can get the most damage. Because once you get that excellent going and you get that excellent streak, there's really not any more damage being dealt to you because they're all flying around. My second favorite one would probably be the blasters, then the ship. In order of my favorites, it would be the carousel, the blaster, the teacups, the pirate ship, splash run, and then the train. And the only reason the train is like my least favorite is because it's only used twice and it's only for scripted events, so it's just not as fun. Like you don't get that much, like you don't get to use it as much. If there was like a mini version you could use in game, I would be all over that. That'd be so cool. It would be kind of like the blasters, but instead you're on like a guide track in a circle, so you have to constantly move. Because with the blasters you could just finish and be done. You don't even have to move. You can just sit there and shoot. With the train you'd be constantly moving, and I think that'd be really fun. But yeah, attractions are nice. I don't think they're broken. I just think they're they need to be lessened. Speaking of lessened, magic. So I'm again of 2 minds of this, and it's such a weird thing. So with magic, you no longer get the instant upgraded version of the spell. So on my first playthrough, I thought you kept getting it, and I was like, why am I still using like crappy ass Thunder when I have Thundara or Thundaga? And I realized the game doesn't replace it for you, it just gives you the spell. So, for those of you who want to do like a really hardcore level 1 crit mode or level 1 proud mode, you don't have to switch your magic. You can use the base magics and be fine, and suffer the way you want to suffer, because I was doing a shit ton of like physical damage, but like very weak magic attacks, and it was just bizarre, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I figured it out, and it was a fun time, but it was a slog. But at the same time, I enjoyed the grand magic system. I like the fact that you can, you know, if you use 4 fires in a row that consistently land, you get Fyra, Firaga, and then Firaga into Firaja. Like, that's really cool. Firaza, and then Firaja, like, if you got the specific keyblade that gives you Firaja, good on you. But yeah, it's a nice addition that works very well for what it's giving you. Summons are... I've always been a person that doesn't really like summons. The most used summons I ever picked in KH1 and 2 were Tinkerbell for the Maleficent fight, Stitch in Kingdom Hearts 2 for his mana regen and orb farming in the Olympus Coliseum. So there's that. I didn't really use them for their intended purpose, but what you gonna do? That being said, every single one of these has a use. The ironic part is that my least favorite is probably Stitch, because his is just so funky to maneuver with. My favorite to use would probably be Aerial, because again, it's very skill-based. You have to actually time what you're doing and learn how the thing works, whereas with like Simba or Wreck-It Ralph, you can just spam the buttons and then good. Which, I mean, like Fireball is a good final ability, but I really don't like spamming it on like Heartless for a good 5 minutes. It's boring. With Aerial, it's at least interesting to use, and because it's one of the last summons you get in the game, it's at least viable to be the most powerful, and I like that as an option. Well, I mean, you get Stitch after this, but you get my point. Summons are just really interesting to work with. I don't really hate them, but I don't use them that much, and that's just how I am as a player. Speaking of summons, and just using your friends as power, Link attacks are the new... I don't know why they're called Link attacks now. They just used to be called limits, but whatever. So the links you can do with your party members is very, very flashy. Donald Meteor and Duck Flare are very overpowered, and that's amazingly fun, because you can like one-shot the Rock Titan, and it's great. The other thing is that you can use Goofy a lot more effectively in this. Like, there's a rocket ability where you guys like shoot forward, there's a spin ability, there's a lot of things to work with, and I love it. It makes your party members feel more real, and they're not useless. And the AI on Donald and Goofy, and especially like other party members too, but with these two, it's very well done. The healing is still a little wonky. Like, I never had an issue with that, because I always go into their settings and fuck with them. I always like make their AI want to do what I want them to do, so I never had that problem. I don't mind Donald and Goofy, they're good. I also don't mind the whole, this might be a good spot to find some ingredients. That doesn't bother me. They're fine. It's fun. It's fine. It's fine. Stop with the meme. Stop it. Stop with the meme. I'm good. Characters, I don't know how to describe this, but the characters, original characters are all good. Larxene is still my queen, and she can step on me anytime. Luxord is really still just Luxord, he's still a dick. Axel got like the best line in the entire fucking world. He got the best fucking line. Like, what is this? Like, he just, oh my god, like, nobody axes Axel. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? What is this game? I love it. Roxas and Ven did the thing we wanted them to do. It's cute. I wish they'd actually, like, talk to each other, but oh well. So, the character interactions with this are really, really good. I need to bring out something that is a little strange. Everyone cried at this scene, when Aqua realizes she's in the realm of light, and they're like, you're home. Everyone cried at that. And I like Aqua a lot. I didn't cry at that. I cried when Ventus remembers Axel, because Axel is so used to being forgotten and being left in the lurch, and he just wants his boyfriend back, and he's being snarky the whole scene, and Ben's just like, oh yeah, I do remember you, and it's just like, oh my god, like, he remembers, and it's just, it's been like 10 years, but he remembers, and it's so good. I love it. Yeah, that scene made me cry. That scene wholly made me cry. Like, I can't even begin to explain why that scene made me just cry so hard. I also cried when Ven was like, Terra, I kept my promise, and it was just like, no, he's crying, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so emotional, and I care about this stuff, and like, this is why you can't play the game blind. You need to know the context of all these characters. Oh my god, it's so nice. So, like, there were a lot of moments that made me, like, have the feels and like giggle and stuff like that, but if I listed all of those moments, we'd be here all day. Speaking of characters though, let's talk about the lack of Final Fantasy. I mean, it's noticed, but it's not really like a problem for me because I'm not a big Final Fantasy person, and in Kingdom Hearts 2 and 1, they were kind of relegated to Traverse Town and Hollow Bastion, basically. Like, they weren't really integral to the plot. Like, I mean, yeah, you had Cloud and Auron and Olympus, but that's kind of it. Like, Olympus was the only world they were ever really used in. There's not really anyone else in those worlds. Like, you have the Final Fantasy VII crew in Radiant Garden, but that's really it, and I don't mind that problem. I do, however, wish they would have had like a Sephiroth fight where the Titans were in Olympus. That would have been really cool. To like fill in the gap for like the Resident Final Fantasy cameo in Olympus with also having the Sephiroth fight, but then I also have to account for the fact that Cloud won't be there to end the fight, and that's just not okay. But still, Sephiroth needs to be in the DLC because Sephiroth is just one of those things, even as someone who doesn't like Final Fantasy that much, you gotta have Sephiroth in the game. It's just a staple, and it's a damn good one. I do miss Cloud, Tifa, Yuffie, and Leon. I do kind of miss them a little bit, because they were just so charming. Like, I don't play Final Fantasy at all, but they were charming. They worked off each other well. Moving on from all the superfluous things to right at the end, Xehanort and his organization is probably the most hype part of the game. It has the most emotion to it, and I love that. All of the organization members have their comeuppance and have a good, final, poignant goodbye. All the trios we come to know and love are now back together, and it's so good. It's such a good final. Scala ad Kylum is a bit underused. I wish you could have actually like gone up to the tower. Like, you could have used like cable cars you could have seen in the past, interacted with stuff. That would have been a good tension kind of idea. I do like how the other 13 vessels of Xehanort are all looking like Xehanort, but they have the Organization 13 members' weapons. That's really good design for enemies in my mind. For some reason, Xehanort's goals changed from being like, I want to see what happens, to I have to save the world from darkness, and I'm like, no, just be curious. Curiosity killed the cat, but at least it's fun. It was a unique motive to just be like, I want to see what happens, rather than like, this world is dying and just bleh. And I'm like, no, just be curious. Curious Xehanort is good Xehanort. Just like Happy Sora is best Sora, and Dead Kairi is best Kairi. Speaking of Xehanort, there's one line he says that just tickles me fucking pink every time I hear it. It's a scripted line that everyone will hear, no matter how often you play the game. It's a scripted line that is done in a cutscene. It's in gameplay. And he says, come Kingdom Hearts, but he sounds like a grandpa, like a sweet old grandpa going, come Kingdom Hearts! And I'm like, what is that line? Like, why? Oh my god, it's so weird. Maybe it's a me thing. The Ericus reveal is good. I love this final fight. It's so good. I love how the final blow is dealt by all three, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, in an homage to Kingdom Hearts 2, with their triple beam thing being an homage to locking the door kind of thing. That's really, really, really cool. And it solidifies their friendship even more, and that's just great character work. God, I love this series. So I talked about this a minute ago, but Sora going off to save Kairi. Why? Like, had they ended the game with Kairi being dead, and then everyone going off to Destiny Island to, like, recuperate and kind of celebrate, like, hey, we're back together, let's have some fun, take our minds off this stuff, could have lived with that. Could have lived with that entirely. But no, they killed him off and brought back Kairi. And now, somehow in the secret ending, Sora and Riku are in what looks to be, one is in Vera Rex, one of them is in, like, real Shibuya, or, like, the world that never was. And I'm like, I'm so confused by that, but I kind of wish they would have, this kind of leads into my last point about shipping. Like, I kind of wish they would have left it alone and just had Sora go back to Destiny Island and, like, cry into Riku's arms and be like, she's gone, I have to go find her. And he's like, we'll find her, we'll get her back, we'll be together again, all three of us. And then, like, I don't know, they like kiss and like they finally become a couple. Like, I know that tragedy, that's not the best vehicle for it. Tragedy does solidify relationships in a way. War does do that to people. And ships in this game are, like, this series teases it so much, because I'm pretty sure Nomura loves Yaoi, but he doesn't want to do it. Disney won't let him do it. And I think that if Disney would let him do Axel and Roxas, then it would make a lot more sense. Because regardless of what anyone else says, I firmly believe that Sora and Riku have been after each other since the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, or even beforehand, because he's all angsty like, oh, he replaced me. Man, no, he didn't. He just got new friends and you're being a dick about it. I feel like if they actually did a real relationship with these characters, it would be overwhelmingly praised. And I don't see Kairi being with Sora or really anyone, because I don't see Kairi as a really well-defined character to have a relationship with anyone. I think they would have to define her first, because she's nice, she's pretty, she's cool, that's fine, but she doesn't have a defined quirk. Sora has the fact that he's just clueless, but a good boy, and then Riku has the fact that he's kind of broody, kind of edgy, but he's still a fun character to be around. Like, you still want to interact with Riku, you still want to talk to him, and it's great. I think if they did the Roxas Axel thing, it would have made sense to, like, test the waters to see if people would buy the other gay relationships they have set up, like, buy the other ones they have set up, because Roxas and Axel are so clearly gay for each other, it's not even fucking funny. It's kind of pathetic how they are like, nope, we're not dating, but like, yeah, you're dating. You're fucking dating. Don't lie to me. You're dating. It's just, no, you're just, stop being hetero. It's okay. Just be gay. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a land of goods and bads. It's not disappointing by any stretch of the imagination. There were just some parts I thought, I wish this was different, and I can't really say anything else about it. I had fun with it, and I will continue to have fun with it later on, and I hope that you guys will be there with me. Let me know what you guys think down below. My name is Chris, and yes, I am projecting on my ships, but no, I don't care.
I have no idea why that just popped out.